Important
court has also
statement
said
there,
that the
Nalini,
court
from the High Court, where it says, court won't lay down different categories of law, one for common citizens and other for granting special privileges for a CM. This is what the court has said, Nalini.
Yes, Neha, these are live updates that are coming in from the verdict that is being pronounced by the High Court right now. And like you correctly said, the High Court has said that there cannot be two separate categories of laws that can be laid down, one for the general common citizens, and there can be no special privileges for a CM in a different set of law. The High Court has also said that investigating agencies under criminal jurisprudence cannot be directed to conduct investigation in a particular manner. They've also said that at convenience and the dictates of one particular person, law has to be allowed to take its own course.
Okay.
And keeping that in mind, the High Court is pronouncing its order on Arvind Kejriwal's petition challenging his arrest. They've said that he has been arrested in a money laundering case. The court has to examine it considering the law of arrest and remand. Accepting his argument that arrest has been done after elections are announced would mean his arrest would not have been challenged if the arrest was after the elections had already been completed. So some very important observations coming in from the High Court, specifically with regard to the kind of arguments that were made by senior advocate Abhishek Manu Singhvi while challenging the arrest. The High Court has clearly shot down
Nalini, just coming back to you in a moment from now. Shreya also continues to be with us. No special privileges for the Chief Minister is what the court, essentially High Court, Shreya has said that the court has to examine, of course, considering law of arrest and remand, talking about the fact that the probe agencies will in fact continue to do their job. Shreya.
Well, you know, Sneha, one after the other, big setbacks coming in for the Aam Aadmi Party. First, the High Court very categorically clarified the point of the aspersions that had been casted on the statements of the approvers. Now, they have also said that on the legality of arrest, he has been arrested in a money laundering case. Court has to examining it, considering law of arrest. Accepting his argument that arrest has been done after elections are announced would mean his arrest would not have been challenged if arrest was done when elections were not announced. So clearly, the court is very categorically saying that there cannot be any special privileges granted for a chief minister at all. And this court is of the opinion that the accused has been arrested and his arrest and remand has to be examined as per law and not as per the timing of the elections. So clearly, all the arguments that were made in by Arvind Kejriwal, who was represented by Abhishek Manu Singhvi about the timing of the arrest, the court has clarified that the timing will depend on the investigation, not the elections. On the approver statements, the court has gone ahead to say that that is a judicial process, well recorded. Questioning that means questioning the judicial process itself. Clearly, and also the question that because he's a sitting chief minister, election times, there can be no special privileges given. So clearly, one after the other, big setback coming in for the Aam Aadmi Party, especially for the kind of political narrative that they were also trying to drive after Arvind Kejriwal's arrest. This particular order is something that will actually be a little difficult for the Aam Aadmi Party to give a counter to.
That's right. An important point that has been made as far as politics of this is concerned, Nalini, in the past, that the Delhi Chief Minister did say that it's to prevent him from contesting or rather from campaigning during the elections, crucial Lok Sabha elections. The court has said, what has the probe agency got to do with it? The probe agency is just going to do its job here.
Absolutely, Sneha. And another important thing that the High Court has said is that the ED is not responsible regarding the timing of the arrest. It needs to be remembered that there were 9 summons that were issued to Arvind Kejriwal to participate in the probe and appear before the ED to answer their questions. But none of those summons had been complied with by Arvind Kejriwal. He did not appear for any of those summons. And that is why the court is looking into every single argument that was made by his lawyer during the course of the arguments that had happened on his plea. The court is saying where the question was raised was there were a necessity to arrest him. The court is saying that ED was in possession of enough material which led them to arrest him. Not joining the probe by him was impacting those in judicial custody. It was a contributing factor. The court is also saying that the judges are only bound by the law. They are not bound by politics, and judgments are written on legal principles and not political affiliations. The judge is bound only by the law that is before him while deciding any case. The High Court also goes ahead and says that in the realm of legal adjudication, courts are only tasked with interpreting law. And so no political arguments that have been made by either side is going to be taken into consideration by the court. The decision is going to be purely on the aspects of law. From the kind of observations that we've seen so far, it seems like it's not going to go in the favor of Arvind Kejriwal once the final order is pronounced, but the order is still in the process of being pronounced. And the High Court has said that while politics may influence governance, judiciary remains committed to principles of law. So any arguments that were made by Arvind Kejriwal's lawyers citing that this is political vendetta is something that the court is not going to accept, especially keeping in mind that they're only bound by the constitution and the laws enforced while deciding this particular petition. The High Court also says that the state is an entity and not confined to a particular person. Political considerations cannot be brought before a court, and case is not between the central government and Kejriwal, it's between Kejriwal and the Enforcement Directorate. So a very important distinction that is being made by the High Court between the Bharatiya Janata Party or the central government versus the Enforcement Directorate as an investigating agency, where the court has said that it is not a fight between the BJP and Aam Aadmi Party. It is a battle between ED as an investigating agency and Arvind Kejriwal as an accused in the Delhi excise policy case.
That's right.
What they've also gone ahead and said is that political dynamics have not and should not affect the court process. Yes,
right. Reiterating essentially, the court has said that courts have been untouched by political interferences. That's what the court essentially is saying right now. Getting in details as far as the High Court is concerned, case is not between the centre and Arvind Kejriwal. The High Court, remember, is deciding on Arvind Kejriwal's arrest, and they are talking about the details of this matter. Also, the court has to be dispassionate and keep its concern only with application of law and decide the case accordingly, is what the Delhi High Court has said. Courts have been untouched by political interferences. High Court says courts apply law as it is. These are developments coming in from the Delhi High Court, where the court is hearing a plea by the Delhi Chief Minister, who in fact was seeking immunity from arrest. That's what he was seeking. The court is talking about how the ED in fact is going to continue to probe the matter on the argument that elections are in fact around the corner and that campaigning by the Delhi Chief Minister is something that is being hindered right here. One of the arguments made earlier, talking about vendetta as well. The High Court has spoken about, made some important points about special privileges for the Chief Minister, saying it can't be granted. Court is not going to be laying down different categories of law, one for common citizens and one for granting special privileges for a Chief Minister. Things are different here, Nalini, because we have a sitting Chief Minister who's in fact trying to run the government from inside jail. This is a unique and unprecedented situation, Nalini.
Well, absolutely, Sneha, but at the same time, it doesn't seem to be something that has convinced the High Court to give any relief to Kejriwal, although we are still waiting for the final order. But the kind of observations we've seen, things are not looking good for the Delhi Chief Minister. Some just latest information that our colleague Shrishti Oja is sending us from inside the court, where the High Court is saying that political morality is not a concern of this court. The court has also said that court is duty bound to interpret only the law. The files placed before the court by the ED reveal the following things. One, all mandate of law as laid down was followed during the arrest. Big observation coming in from the High Court, Sneha, where the court says that all of the mandate laid down by the law was followed by the ED during the arrest. The order by the magistrate where remand was granted to the ED was a reasoned order. The material before the ED included statements of the Hawala dealers and also included Aam Aadmi Party's own candidate statements who were involved in the elections in 2022. They are talking about the Goa elections, for which the ED has been alleging from the beginning that the money that Aam Aadmi Party had received as kickbacks was used in the Goa elections. The High Court says that ED was able to place enough material in shape of Hawala dealer statements, approver statements and statements of Aam Aadmi Party members to say that he was given money for expenditure in the Goa elections. Big statement coming in, Sneha, where the High Court says that the evidence that was placed in by the ED before the High Court was enough to determine that Arvind Kejriwal was involved in the kickbacks that Aam Aadmi Party had gotten related to the Delhi excise policy, which was the money that was eventually used for the Goa elections. And not only do they have the statements of the approvers to prove this, but they also have the Hawala dealer statements, and they also have statements of Aam Aadmi Party's own members who were part of the Goa elections who had gotten this money that was received by the Aam Aadmi Party in lieu of the kickbacks. Some very big observations coming in from the High Court, not only on Arvind Kejriwal's limitedly challenging his arrest, but in general, even on the whole Delhi excise policy case, where the High Court says that there is a complete money chain regarding the Goa elections. Big statements, Neha, because earlier we have seen the court say that the money trail has not been established. But the High Court now says that there is a complete money chain. The petition by Kejriwal has officially been dismissed. The final order of the court is out. Shrishti Oja is getting us all of these latest updates.